The LPGA Tour had Caitlyn Clark play, and the LPGA, fans, well, the event was taken over by the ominous crowd that made sure to go get angry at everything Caitlyn Clark did and everything Caitlyn Clark does and was ever going to do, and made it that she was the problem and not the solution.
The LPGA has ignited a firestorm, one that has the WNBA seething. Recently, when the LPGA invited Caitlyn Clark, one of women's basketball's most luminous young talents, to participate in a unique event, the outcome was spectacular. An enormous turnout, excitement at a fever pitch, and a new wave of fans flocking to women's golf.
The LPGA, you can see when it came to them that they were happy that Caitlyn Clark was there. They knew exactly the value that Caitlyn Clark brought.
The LPGA publicly embraced Clark's presence, fully recognizing the immense value she provides. But here's the interesting part. While the golf world gave her a hero's welcome, the WNBA's response has been decidedly chilly. What could make the WNBA feel so threatened by Clark's surging popularity? Is it simple jealousy, or is there something more profound at play? Stay with us as this story delves into a rivalry poised to reshape the landscape of women's sports.
To the whole event, they saw how important it was that new fans were getting involved in golf, especially women's golf.
The LPGA's move to feature Caitlyn Clark was a strategic masterstroke. A diverse crowd of fans appeared, eager not just for the golf, but for a chance to see Clark in person. Her star power is undeniable, having driven a surge of new followers to women's sports. And the LPGA, they grasped this instantly, welcoming her warmly and acknowledging she's not merely a star, but a beacon attracting new eyes to their game. The LPGA celebrated her, seeing that Caitlyn wasn't just a basketball talent, but a magnet for younger audiences who might have otherwise overlooked women's golf. Yet, this warm reception prompted an unforeseen reaction, a wave of frustration from the WNBA. The reason? It appears some within the WNBA see her not as a unifying force, but as a rival for the spotlight. Despite the clear benefits she could offer, a prevailing sentiment in the league is that she's diverting attention from its established players. Several WNBA figures and supporters have voiced skepticism, asserting that the hype around Clark undermines the progress they've painstakingly built.
I know it's been a tough year in terms of injury for you. Does that mean you've played a little bit more golf this year?
Unfortunately, it means I've played less, just because I haven't been able to get out there with some of the injuries that I was dealing with, but now feeling back to 100%. So I've been trying to take advantage of the fall weather in Indianapolis before, it gets too cold. And obviously being down here in Florida, the weather makes it pretty easy to play some golf, but getting in as much as I can. Obviously, I stay pretty busy, so I don't get to play as much.
Yet, consider this. For women's sports to expand, wouldn't it be logical to embrace a talent like Caitlyn, who brings a fresh audience with her? The WNBA's reaction, in such sharp contrast to the LPGA's, raises the question, is this a defense of their current stars? Or are they failing to see the larger opportunity? What makes the situation more fascinating is how LPGA players and fans reacted. The event's atmosphere was electric. The crowd sensed they were witnessing something historic, not just another tournament. Spectators arrived early, keen to see Clark, and lingered long after, engaging with athletes and absorbing the energy. This felt like more than a one-off spike. It's a signal of rising interest that could lift all women's sports. Stars like Nelly Korda lauded Clark, calling her a breath of fresh air, and noting how wonderful it was to see new faces. They viewed Caitlyn not as a competitor but an ally, capable of injecting new energy into the sport. The LPGA understood that a bigger fan base benefits all, and they swiftly capitalized on the opportunity.
Next on the tee, Caitlyn Clark.
Yards isn't fair.
Be able to move up.
This stands in stark contrast to the WNBA, which has adopted a more guarded stance on Clark's fame. There's a feeling that Caitlyn signals a change that endangers the league's established dynamics. Instead of exploring cross-promotional opportunities or how her fame could enhance the league's profile, some in the WNBA seem to perceive her fan base as an unwelcome intrusion. This perspective, however, might be restraining the league at a pivotal time. The sports world is changing, and leagues that fail to adapt may be left in the dust. The LPGA appears to grasp that evolution is vital for growth, whereas the WNBA seems hesitant, perhaps overly protective of its current identity. By giving Clark's popularity the cold shoulder, is the WNBA forgoing a chance that could help not just their league, but women's sports as a whole. Meanwhile, the WNBA's hesitation to fully welcome Clark showcases a profoundly different strategy. Instead of celebrating her cross-sport appeal, some in the league seem to treat her fame as a distraction. It's almost as if they're guarding an exclusive club instead of fostering an inclusive home for all fans of women's sports. This strategy, so different from the LPGA's open invitation, could impede the WNBA's expansion over time. Modern fans seek compelling narratives, personalities, and interleague connections. By sidelining someone like Caitlyn, the WNBA risks looking disconnected from the desires of today's sports audience. In an effort to maintain a narrow focus, they may be sacrificing the opportunity to cultivate a broader, more dedicated following.
Because we know in the WNBA, when it came to Caitlyn Clark, it was a lot of like, we don't need you and we were good before and we don't like your fans and this, that, and
what makes Caitlyn Clark's appeal so powerful is her genuine passion for all sports. She has consistently supported female athletes in various fields, stressing the need for unity and collective success. Clark has frequently voiced her respect for organizations like the WNBA and her desire to elevate women's sports overall. What if the WNBA had channeled this energy instead of dismissing it? Clark's influence could have attracted new spectators, boosted ticket sales, and elevated the league's profile. Instead, the league's reaction has been tentative, almost dismissive. This could prove to be a significant missed chance for the WNBA, one they may eventually regret. Rather than embracing Clark as an ally, they've inadvertently fueled attention that is now public, potentially pushing away the very fans they hope to attract.
like they did everything they could to sabotage their own league. And yeah, it backfired. For me anyway, I think it's hard to argue that it didn't completely backfire for them because Caitlyn Clark is more popular than ever.
The differing approaches of the LPGA and WNBA offer a clear lesson in adaptability. The LPGA viewed Caitlyn Clark's visit as a growth opportunity, a chance to attract new audiences and leverage a special moment. They knew that women's sports, which often struggle for viewership, benefit immensely from cross-league solidarity. The LPGA doesn't care where the new fans come from. They are simply ecstatic that more people are paying attention to their sport. By collaborating with stars like Clark, they are positioning themselves to win over and keep those fans. Conversely, the WNBA's position suggests they see Clark's fame as more of a liability than an asset. Instead of leveraging her wide appeal, they appear committed to a status quo that may not be sustainable in the current sports climate. The LPGA's experience with Caitlyn Clark should be a model for other leagues on navigating modern sports culture. While the WNBA's protective posture might seem reasonable to insiders, it risks alienating fans and stunning growth. If leagues like the WNBA refuse to welcome stars who can attract new demographics, they might struggle to stay relevant in an increasingly connected sports ecosystem. Fans crave collaboration, dynamism, and solidarity, particularly in women's sports, where leagues face common challenges. The LPGA's success with Clark demonstrates that growth and openness are intertwined, presenting a model that could elevate all of women's sports if others would adopt it. As Caitlyn Clark's star continues to rise, the gap between how the LPGA and WNBA manage her fame will likely widen. The LPGA's welcome of Clark could pioneer a new era of collaboration among women's sports leagues, a strategy that could lift them all. Conversely, the WNBA's reluctance could ultimately stunt its own potential. By failing to seize the moment, with a star like Clark, they are potentially leaving a wealth of fans and opportunities untapped. This issue transcends a single player or league. It concerns the future of women's sports as a collective powerhouse. If the WNBA fails to adapt, it may soon be watching from the sidelines as other leagues reap the rewards of the star power it chose to overlook. The public's reaction to Caitlyn Clark's ascent has revealed a fundamental split among women's sports leagues. While the LPGA's strategy shows foresight and flexibility, the WNBA's response hints at a more insular, even defensive mindset. It's startling to witness such friction, particularly when unity and mutual promotion could be so beneficial for women's sports. Caitlyn Clark has proven to be more than a fan favorite. She is a sincere champion for all female athletes. Her authentic passion for women's sports, combined with her charismatic personality and ability to draw a crowd, makes her a tremendous asset, not just for basketball, but for any sport she engages with. Just think if the WNBA had followed the LPGA's lead and publicly cheered Clark's success. What if they had viewed her as a conduit to bring new audiences to their product? The potential for crossover appeal among fans of basketball, golf, and other sports is massive. It's not just about her fan base, it's about the broader influence she has in encouraging young girls to engage with all women's sports. The WNBA could have seized this opportunity, aligned themselves with Clark's narrative, and used her influence to amplify their lead. Instead, they've projected an image of exclusivity that could ultimately backfire, leaving both fans and players to question the league's unwelcoming stance. In the current sports media landscape, fans are starved for compelling stories and relatable stars. Caitlyn Clark is more than an athlete, she's a phenomenon, and that's what captivates people. The LPGA understood this and leveraged her appeal to stage an event that felt dynamic and new. The spectators who came to see her weren't there solely for the golf. They came for the narrative, the energy, and the opportunity to be part of something fresh. This is where the LPGA demonstrated true vision. They weren't concerned with keeping their sport pure or exclusive. They were focused on expansion, and they identified Clark as the ideal partner to achieve that. The pressing question is, why hasn't the WNBA embraced a similar strategy? Even more telling is how fans have reacted to the WNBA's hesitancy. Many are vocal in their support for Clark, no matter what sport she is playing. They are invested in her success and want to follow her, whether on the court or on the green. By failing to fully welcome her, the WNBA risks alienating not just Clark's followers, but their own base as well. This sends a potentially harmful message to young, aspiring athletes. Rather than fostering unity and celebrating mutual triumphs, the WNBA's position creates a rift, implying there's no space for collaboration. The LPGA, conversely, seems to grasp the power of community and cross-promotion. Their strategy reflects a keen understanding of what today's sports fans desire. People want to see athletes supporting one another, leagues cooperating, and a general atmosphere of solidarity. The LPGA's partnership with Caitlyn Clark communicated that they are not just receptive to growth, but are actively seeking it. They aren't intimidated by new fans or the attention Clark generates. In fact, they embrace it. This difference in attitude reveals a level of adaptability that could be vital to the LPGA's long-term success. As they seize this moment, the WNBA seems caught in a paradigm that could limit its own potential. Regrettably, the WNBA's reaction appears to be rooted in an obsolete philosophy that favors exclusivity over expansion. By keeping their distance from Clark, they are squandering a chance to connect with a far larger audience. Supporters of women's sports want to see athletes and leagues working together, dismantling barriers and collaborating to shine a brighter light on women's accomplishment. The WNBA's unwillingness to embrace this collaborative spirit could ultimately leave them at a disadvantage, especially as other leagues like the LPGA prove their readiness to adapt to fan expectation. The LPGA's welcoming of Caitlyn Clark might establish a new standard for how women's sports leagues engage with one another moving forward. Envision a future where leagues actively promote crossover appearances, champion each other's stars, and acknowledge the mutual benefits of shared fan bases. Such a strategy could transform women's sports, making them more popular, accessible, and respected. By collaborating, leagues can build a larger, more unified world for women's athletics. The LPGA's choice to work with Clark could be the beginning of a revolution, but if the WNBA doesn't alter its perspective, it risks being left behind while other leagues harness new energy and fans. As this situation continues to develop, it's evident that Caitlyn Clark's influence is only expanding. The LPGA's decision to feature her was a bold move that has paid dividends that will likely be felt for years. Clark is a megastar, and her supporters will follow her anywhere. The LPGA's readiness to embrace her and celebrate her fame demonstrates a foresight that other leagues should observe. They recognize that growth isn't achieved by gatekeeping, marketing, but by opening doors, inviting new people in, and showcasing the excitement of women's sports. In stark contrast, the WNBA's reluctance to fully embrace Clark exposes a mindset that could curtail their own prospects. By prioritizing the preservation of their current structure, they are passing up an opportunity to grow their fan base and connect with new demographics. It serves as a reminder that sports, particularly in the women's arena, must be adaptable and open to innovation. Modern fans are drawn to authenticity, human connection, and narratives that defy conventional limits. Caitlyn Clark embodies all of this and more, and any league that welcomes her impact is poised for significant rewards. If we've learned anything from this, it's that women's sports can gain tremendously from cooperation, transparency, and a readiness to embrace stars who bring attention to the games. The LPGA's embrace of Clark is a positive step, proving they are willing to take chances, innovate, and prioritize the advancement of women's sports. The WNBA, conversely, risks being left behind by clinging to a dated model that is out of step with modern fan culture. Women's sports are on the verge of a profound transformation, and the leagues that can adapt will be the ones to prosper. The LPGA's welcome of Caitlyn Clark and the WNBA's resistance highlight two divergent futures for women's sports. While one organization sees an opportunity, the other seemingly perceives a threat. As Caitlyn Clark's power grows, the WNBA's hesitance could prove very costly. What's your take? Is the WNBA making a critical error, or is their stance understandable? Share your thoughts in the comment. And if you found this analysis compelling, please like, subscribe, and activate notifications for more content on sports, strategy, and culture. Thank you for watching, and we'll keep you updated on the latest in women's sport.